Among among many nicknames that Dr. Oburu is known for, he goes around saying that he's an orphan. And sometimes he says he's a young man. Anyway, those are jokes. And we wanted to share about Dr. Oburu. His brother is very much known, but maybe you know something about Oburu. But do those people near you know about Oburu? Do you know Dr. Oburu's full names? Of course, him and Raila have unique names, and we will try to understand why. Do you know that he is the only Kenyan so far to date to have been a counselor with a PhD? I don't know whether we have an MCA with a PhD, because those days we used to have local governments, and since the time of local government up to the time 2020 it was changed to MCS. Nobody has been known to be a counselor with a PhD. That his unique history makes it possible for us to share and know him better. He was born in 1943 to Jaramogi Oginga Odinga and Mary Oginga. Odinga, or is it Odinga or Oginga? I don't know. He is the eldest child of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Of the several siblings he has, two are famous. They are Raila Odinga and Ruth Odinga. Ruth was the deputy governor for Kisumu between 2013 and 2017, which means she was the first deputy governor in Kisumu. And she's currently the women rep for Kisumu. When Dr. Buru and Raila were to be baptized, Jaramogi refused to give them these other names, James, John, Samuel, Peter. Jaramogi refused to give them those names. They were to be baptized in Anglican Church. Many people say that they are not Christians and Waganga, but the Jaramogi family are Anglicans. So when it reached the time for the two to be baptized, Jaramogi said that Raila should be called Amolo. You know, Jaramogi's grandfather, Jaramogi is called Oginga. His father was Oginga Odinga. So his father was Odinga. And Jaramogi's grandfather was called Raila. So Raila was named after his great-grandfather. When it reached the time for baptism, Jaramogi wanted him to be baptized as Amolo. That's why it's called Raila Amolo Odinga. As for Oburu, Jaramogi wanted him to be called Ngonga. Ngonga. Now, those who know Luo, maybe you can tell us what Ngonga means or something. The church, the Anglican Church, refused, and that explains why, unlike many people, you find many people have Christian names, but this one's Jaramogi wanted them to be given Luo names during their baptism. But how and why their sister Ruth, he was named Ruth, I do not know. As of now, I do not know how and why their sister was called Ruth. Dr. Oburu, with his brother Raila, went to Maranda Primary School. By then, it was a primary school. He passed well. He passed well with flying colors. One of the leading people in Kenya. If you look at him, he was an intellectual from primary school. Then he applied to join Alliance High School. The reason why he was not admitted at Alliance High School was because the headmaster then, yes, nowadays you call it principal, the headmaster of Alliance High School was Carrie Francis, the famous Carrie Francis, refused to admit Oburu, even though Oburu was one of the leading students in Kenya. We reached a time when leading people, students in Form 4 or even primary, would be announced throughout Kenya. But that time it was not that way. So he was one of the leading in Kenya, where he would join Alliance freely, easily. But the principal, Carrie Francis, refused to take him. Actually, most of those who joined the Alliance then did not perform as well as Oburu did. The reason why Carrie Francis refused to admit him was that Carrie Francis had taught at Maseno with Jaramogi. There is a time, Raila and Oburu were born in Maseno. So when Jaramogi used to teach at Maseno, and when he was to teach at Maseno as an ordinary teacher, Carrie Francis was the head teacher there. And so they know each other. And Carrie Francis kept on insisting that he did not admit Oburu because he feared that Oburu would be as thick-headed as his father. Well, that is the only person who has considered Oburu to be thick-headed. I think with the day of judgment, we will judge that there is only one human being who ever said that Oburu is thick-headed. In fact, he's very soft. Maybe people may not say that about Raila, isn't it? That is why he did not join Alliance in Form 1. What was happening is that Carrie Francis was transferring his attitude about Jaramogi to the son. It was for that reason that Oburu attended secondary school in Moscow, Russia. Can we say he attended secondary school in Moscow, USSR? By then it was USSR, but now it is Russia. That is from 1962 to 1964, where he got his secondary school certificate. It is 3 years, just like CBC, isn't it? He got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in 1967. And then in 1970, he got a PhD in economics. Sio subject rahisi hivi, sio? He then came to Kenya, and since you saw he got a PhD in 1970, and the father had been a vice president or a deputy president up to 1967. So when the father came to, so when Oburu came back to Kenya in 1970, the father was in the bad books of the government. So he then came to Kenya, and since the political environment had changed, his father was no longer the vice president, and with his Soviet degrees, he had a lot of challenges. Imagine having a PhD in, in his case, economics, isn't it? But then you are working under somebody with a bachelor's degree in economics. That one between 1970 and 74, he was frustrated, and that is why he left the civil service. And he wanted to campaign in 1974. In 1974, we had a general election. He wanted to campaign, but because of the relationship between Jaramogi and the KANU government then, or Jomo Kenyatta, he could not be cleared to contest for the MPship. So he went and contested for Milimani Ward in Kisumu municipality. And then between 1974 and 1979, 79 is when we had an election. He was a councillor in Milimani ward in Kisumu. Between 1981 to 1994, he was an economist in the Ministry of Planning and National Development. 1981. You know what I'm saying? 1981 to 94. That was now during Moi's time. Jomo Kenyatta already had gone. Then his father died, I think it's February 1994. Then he inherited his father's Bondo constituency. He served as assistant minister in the coalition government of 2008. And between 2013 and 2017, which was the first 2010 constitution, he was a nominated MP for one term. Then between 2018 and 2022, he was a member of East Africa Legislative Assembly. From 2022 to the time of shooting of this video, he was the senator for Nyanza. He likes telling people that when it comes to politics, he is junior to Raila. He's junior, he answers to Raila when it comes to politics, but when it comes to both the family issue and family business, he is the overall in charge. Actually, he is the chairman of the family's business conglomerate. I'm sure most of what you have heard, you have never heard about it, but I would also add that he's a very likable person. If you talk to him one-on-one, I've never talked to him one-on-one, but I know that when you talk to him one-on-one, he's a very affable fellow. Long live Oburu.